Monthly payments on average have dropped to about $2,100.
We were just talking about it here in the studio. The once hot housing market is finally starting to cool off. Home prices are down.
California's housing market is standing on the edge of its biggest correction in a generation. And this time, sellers can't escape. During the last crash, homeowners lost equity overnight. But in 2025, it's something darker. Homes aren't selling at all. Across the state, 1 in 4 listings has slashed prices, and still buyers aren't biting. Today, I'll take you inside the numbers the headlines won't show you, and reveal the 10 cities where the slowdown has already turned into a full-blown freeze. Stay to the end, because if you live in one of these markets, your home's true value may already be falling faster than you think. Number 10. Fresno. Central California's agricultural heartland is experiencing something it hasn't seen in years. A market correction that's quietly unfolding beneath the surface. 20.3% of homes in Fresno have been discounted. That's 1 in 5 sellers forced to lower their asking price just to attract buyers. The city maintains an 11.7% overvaluation rate, meaning homes are still priced above their fundamental value. Here's what makes the situation particularly troubling. The median sale price in January 2025 reached $390,000, marking a 6.6% increase compared to January 2024. So prices are still rising, right? Not quite. Homes now sell after 41 days on the market compared to just 21 days last year. That's nearly double the time. The local driver is straightforward. Affordability has hit a wall. With a value-to-income ratio of 5.4, families need to spend over 5 times their annual household income to buy a median-priced home. Add 7% mortgage rates, and the monthly payment jumps to around $2,400. For a city where the median household income hovers around $72,000 annually, that math simply doesn't work. What's happening now is a classic market stall. Sellers are listing at optimistic prices based on last year's appreciation. Buyers are walking away because they can't afford the payments. And slowly, grudgingly, those asking prices are coming down. With a population just over 1 million, the market appears to be self-correcting amid affordability concerns. The city isn't crashing yet, but the foundation is cracking. When homes take twice as long to sell and 1 in 5 sellers is cutting prices, you're watching the early stages of a correction. And unless wages suddenly jump or mortgage rates plummet, this trend accelerates from here. Number 9. Bakersfield. Kern County's oil fields and agriculture that built its economy can't prop up the housing market anymore. With 22.5% of homes for sale reduced in price, clear signs of a market reset are emerging. The overvaluation sits at 19.4%, meaning nearly 1/5 of home values are inflated beyond what the local economy can support. On paper, things look affordable. With a median price around $385,000, this remains one of the most affordable cities in California. But here's the brutal reality. Prices have dipped by nearly 2% in a year, and inventory is up by 48%. The local driver is economics. Monthly payments now approach $2,800, while average local incomes sit near $60,000. That puts the payment-to-income ratio at nearly 56% of gross monthly income. Lenders want to see that number below 43%. The agricultural and oil-based economy hasn't kept pace with inflation, leaving many households unable to qualify for loans or sustain the cost of ownership. When your local economy can't generate the wages needed to support home prices, something has to give. And right now, it's home values. The population stands at about 913,000, and the city's relatively lower home prices may cushion it against deeper declines. Maybe. But with inventory flooding the market and buyers disappearing, sellers are learning a painful lesson about supply and demand. When you have too much of one and not enough of the other, prices only move in one direction. The affordability that once defined this Central Valley city has become its curse, as even low prices can't attract buyers who simply can't qualify for financing. We'll keep tracking how far this goes and who gets hit next. So if you want the real story without the spin, hit subscribe and stick around. Number 8. Oakland. Crossing the bay to Oakland reveals where the promise of being San Francisco's affordable alternative has completely collapsed. The housing market here is in genuine distress. At current interest rates, owning a typical home requires monthly payments over $5,400, a stretch for most middle-class buyers. That's more expensive than many San Francisco neighborhoods without the corresponding wages or amenities. The median home value has been sliding for months. What used to be the escape valve for San Francisco's tech workers has become its own affordability crisis. And the problem isn't just single-family homes. Condos and townhomes are stagnating as well, with developers offering incentives just to get units occupied. Here's the local driver. The city got caught in the perfect storm. During the pandemic boom, tech workers fleeing San Francisco bid up prices to unsustainable levels. Then three things happened simultaneously: tech layoffs, return to office mandates, and crime concerns. The buyers disappeared, but the inflated prices remained. Now sellers are stuck. They bought at the peak, often waiving inspections and contingencies in bidding wars. Their mortgage payments are locked in at elevated prices, but when they try to sell, they discover the buyer pool has vanished. The people who could afford $5,400 monthly payments aren't interested. They're buying in Marin or staying in San Francisco. The result? Homes sitting for months, price cuts becoming standard, and a growing sense of panic among sellers who realize they're trapped in properties they can't sell without taking massive losses. This was supposed to be the affordable Bay Area option. In 2025, it's become a cautionary tale about what happens when prices disconnect from local fundamentals. And the correction? It's just getting started. The East Bay's reckoning is unfolding in real time. Number 7. Modesto. The Central Valley city is watching its housing market unravel in real time. 23.6% of homes for sale are seeing price cuts. Nearly 1 in 4 sellers has been forced to slash their asking price. That's not a soft market. That's desperation setting in across subdivisions. The problem is straightforward. Spillover demand from the Bay Area during the pandemic swept through here like wildfire. Remote workers and investors flooded into cheaper Central Valley markets, bidding up prices to levels the local economy could never support. Now that remote work has faded and investors are exiting, the city is left holding the bag. The overvaluation rate tells the story. Local income simply can't support current home prices. The median household income sits around $71,000, while the median home price hovers near $490,000. That's a value-to-income ratio pushing 7 to 1, well above the historical sustainable range of 3 to 4 times income. Here's what's happening on the ground. Homes that sold in a week during 2021 are now sitting for 60, 70, even 90 days. Sellers who refuse to cut prices watch their listings go stale. Those who do cut prices often find they have to cut again. The local economy offers no relief. The job market is heavily weighted toward agriculture, logistics, and service industries, none of which pay the salaries needed to afford nearly $500,000 homes at 7% mortgage rates. With a population exceeding 550,000, affordability pressures are pushing more buyers to the sidelines. The correction isn't a maybe. It's already happening. The only question is how much further prices need to fall before they reach a level local buyers can actually afford. And based on current income levels, there's still a long way down. Number 6. Los Angeles. The City of Angels is experiencing a fall from grace that's shocking even longtime observers. One of the highest median home prices in the state sits at $850,000 here. But 2025 is marking a critical turning point. Prices are slipping between 2 and 4%, translating to tens of thousands in lost equity across neighborhoods throughout the sprawling metro. But here's where it gets alarming. Over 40% of homes listed in early 2025 have already reduced their asking price. That's not just luxury enclaves. Areas like West Adams, Northridge, and Eagle Rock are also seeing declines. The local driver is payment shock. High mortgage payments, over $5,500 a month, are deterring buyers. At an $850,000 price point with 7% rates, you're looking at a monthly payment approaching $6,000 once you add taxes, insurance, and HOA fees. For most families, that's simply impossible. But there's a deeper problem. The economy has been hit hard by entertainment industry strikes, tech layoffs, and the broader work-from-home shift. The high-paying jobs that once supported these home prices have become scarcer. And unlike San Francisco, LA doesn't have the concentrated wealth of big tech to cushion the blow. What's happening now is a broad-based reset. Sellers who bought at the peak are realizing they're underwater on paper. Those who need to sell for job relocations or life changes are being forced to accept prices well below what they paid. And first-time buyers? They've been completely priced out, removing the bottom rung of the housing ladder. The city isn't experiencing a crash yet. But with 40% of sellers cutting prices and inventory continuing to build, the trajectory is clear. Number 5. Sacramento. California's capital is learning that political power can't save the housing market from economic reality. The fall from grace here has been swift and painful. The city dropped 10 slots on the major housing market list for 2025, landing at number 37 nationally. Buyers are concerned about affordability and the higher 6 to 7% interest rates they're facing right now. But it's more than just rates. The entire value proposition has collapsed here completely. During the pandemic, this was the escape from the Bay Area market. Tech workers cashed out of San Francisco and bought here, driving prices from affordable to astronomical in just 2 years. The median home price jumped from around $420,000 in 2020 to over $620,000 by 2022. That's a 48% increase in 24 months. Now, the reversal is here. Multiple offers aren't happening anymore. Homes aren't going over list price anymore. In June 2025, 920 properties were sold, down 4.3% compared to June of last year. The local driver is the Bay Area exodus has stopped. Return to office mandates killed the growth story. The tech workers who could afford $600,000 homes aren't commuting anymore. They've either moved back closer to San Francisco or left California entirely. The median sold price was $550,000, down 1.8% from June 2024. That might not sound like much, but in real estate, the direction matters more than the magnitude. When prices are falling and inventory is rising, the market has shifted decisively in buyers' favor. The problem is simple. Everything was bet on Bay Area spillover demand. That demand evaporated. Now it's left with home prices that local government salaries can't support. Number 4. San Jose. The heart of Silicon Valley is discovering that even big tech can't save the housing market anymore. The housing market here is showing cracks that would have been unthinkable 3 years ago. In August 2025, home prices were down 0.67% compared to last year, selling for a median price of $1.4 million across the metro area. Let's be clear, $1.4 million for a median home is still astronomical. But here's what matters: the direction. This is one of 3 metros that joined the list of cities with year-over-year price drops in June, turning negative for the first time in years. The velocity is alarming. Homes now take 22 days to sell compared to 18 days last year. In a place where tech wealth and foreign buyers historically made homes move in days, an extra 4 days on market signals serious demand weakness beneath the surface. Sacramento is the most popular destination among home buyers here, followed by Portland and San Diego. When your residents are fleeing to cities with half the home prices, that's a demand death spiral. The people leaving were your potential buyers. Now they're gone. The math is brutal. At one point, $4 million with 7% mortgage rates, you're looking at a monthly payment exceeding $8,000 before taxes and insurance. Even with Silicon Valley salaries, that's a stretch. And with tech compensation getting squeezed and job security evaporating, fewer people are willing to take that risk on home ownership. The question isn't if this market will correct, it's how far prices will fall. Number 3. San Francisco. The words housing crisis have taken on an entirely new meaning in this iconic city. Housing inventory is exploding here. Starting 3 years ago, the buyers exited the Bay Area housing market and have not come back. The numbers are staggering. Active listings in the metropolitan area jumped by 40% in May compared to a year earlier. That's not a gentle increase. That's an inventory explosion. And here's the problem. The typical value of a house is $1.18 million as of April 2025. Those valuations don't work at 7% mortgage rates, and roughly 75% of buyers in the Bay Area use a mortgage to facilitate the transaction. Thus, the frozen market with declining prices and skyrocketing inventory taking over. The local driver is a combination of factors that have all hit simultaneously. Tech layoffs gutted the buyer pool. Buyers are out there, but they are very picky. But it's not just buyer psychology. The problem is demand. It has essentially collapsed. New listings aren't that high. But because the inventory of homes for sale doesn't sell and new listings are added to it, the total piled up month after month. The median price saw a decrease of 1.9% year over year. Analysts expect a 4.7% drop in home values in the coming 12 months. And it could decline further if the current inventory trends hold steady or accelerate into summer. Here's what's particularly ominous. This city has always been the bellwether for California real estate. When it leads, other markets follow. And right now, it's leading the state into a correction that could reshape California's housing landscape for a generation. The tech boom that drove prices to the stratosphere is over completely. Number 2, Riverside. The affordable alternative to Los Angeles narrative has completely collapsed in this Inland Empire city. Nearly 24% of homes for sale are seeing price cuts. But the deeper you dig, the worse it gets. Inventory has jumped by 50% year over year in a stunning reversal of market conditions. Let that number sink in. A 50% inventory increase in 12 months. That's not a market correction, that's a market break happening in real time across entire subdivisions. The median home price stands at around $575,000. That looks affordable compared to coastal California. But here's the trap. With rates at approximately 7%, monthly payments now exceed $4,300, not even accounting for taxes or insurance adding to the burden. The local driver is a perfect storm of overbuilding and demand collapse. This city became a victim of its own pandemic success. Developers saw strong demand and built thousands of homes in new subdivisions on the outskirts. Investors bought properties betting on continued appreciation. And first-time buyers stretched to afford homes, assuming they could always refinance later when rates dropped. Add in wildfire risks, growing traffic congestion, and a lagging public transit system, and the competitive edge is disappearing fast. The value proposition that once made this attractive, affordable homeownership within commuting distance of LA, has evaporated. You're still commuting 2 hours each way, but now you're doing it from a home that's losing value every month. The overvaluation rate of 18.5% and value-to-income ratio of 6.4 indicate serious affordability challenges ahead. Number 1, Stockton. Welcome to ground zero for California's housing market collapse. Over 1 in 4 homes here, 25.4%, had their asking price reduced, indicating softening demand that's become an avalanche. This isn't just leading the state in price cuts, it's in a category of its own when it comes to market distress. But it gets worse. Home value growth stands at just 1.1% year over year, one of the lowest in the state. Prices are barely moving up, but sellers are slashing asking prices by the thousands. That's a market in freefall that nobody wants to acknowledge publicly. Here's what makes this the perfect storm. It has all of California's problems with none of its advantages. The unemployment rate hovers at 7% and wage growth is stagnating badly. The local economy never fully recovered from its 2012 bankruptcy that made national headlines. Mortgage rates around 7% are locking out middle-income earners completely. Buyers can't keep up with rising costs, and lenders have tightened approval criteria dramatically. When you combine unaffordable homes with an economy that can't generate the wages to support them, you get exactly what's happening here. A death spiral nobody can stop. With an overvaluation rate of 9.0% and a population of over 800,000, affordability pressures remain a key concern for buyers. But concern doesn't capture it. The housing market is imploding in slow motion while everyone watches helplessly. The smart investors aren't running from the housing market. They're positioning for what's next. If you know where prices are falling first, you know where opportunity begins. Subscribe and stay tuned. We'll be breaking down which markets bottom out first and where the rebound will start. Because in every correction, there's always someone who sees it early and acts before the crowd.